Hi everybody, it is Tuesday, December 28th. I'm back. I'm back. Uh, and sure enough, I got a download 4:30 in the morning last night. Kind of got a couple pages here, it's pretty interesting stuff. So I think I should just relay it to you guys, see if it makes sense to you guys as well. Um, the first part, um, I'm going to start just reading it, and then I'll sort of just dissect it as much as I can here. They told me, they said that we are powerful beings. We create worlds for ourselves to experience life, like physical life. We usually come into these worlds, we join in with our galactic families and friends to experience different learning creations, or sort of scenarios, I guess, type of thing. Um, Earth is a lower vibration world that is dangerous. Just in other words, we kind of knew this coming in. It's dangerous because most of us are of higher vibration. Like for instance, me, I mostly exist on the sixth sort of level of dimension. That's what I was told, and it kind of rings true with me. Even though they tell me I'm a ninth dimensional being. So to me, but all that really means, and I've told you guys before, is like we're all students in this universe, and it's just like, okay, I've done these lower levels before, and even if you graduated with really poor marks or something, but you usually go up in vibration and sometimes you can revisit them to learn old lessons again and stuff like that. So that's kind of what we all do. If you're adventurous, I guess. Um, they said, Earth is kind of dangerous because of that. It's a lower vibration, which means it can be affected by lower or negative beings. Uh, and if you're strong enough, you can fight them off, type of thing. So it is a challenge. Um, so it says, most of us that have come here, we knew that. What we didn't expect was the reincarnation loop. Because normally, whenever you come into a new world or something, you usually play out that whole lifetime. It's almost like a storyline, and then you go back and you can make another decision of, okay, where do you want to go next, that type of thing. Believe it or not, that's kind of what's kind of ultimately going on. But this one here, it was hijacked, and there was a reincarnation loop put on Earth, so that when our spirits were finished with our physical bodies, when we die off, our spirit would take off and go back to source or wherever, let's say ninth dimension, 10th dimension, with your family and your friends, and you go, okay, what do you want to do now? And as you know, there's no time out there either, so it's like you could have been gone for 20 minutes up there. But down here, you're here for 100 years. I know it sounds crazy and everything, but that's kind of how it works. But what we didn't expect was not only this world is hijacked and they're using our energy, but that was one of the things that they put up was it's kind of a reincarnation loop, whereas it was kind of like a false light that you went to, and then you're basically put back into another physical body, and they've been reusing our energy over and over and over again. This is ultimately what they're doing. They want our energy, and it's to create a world for them, and also it's basically in a sense like an energy food source for them. So we didn't expect that. Like people that came here. I mean, I expected it because I've come back to help with this movement. And also when I've come before, I've known about this loop, and I know how to avoiding it, to go back to source. So I'm going to go on to that here more because they explained that. But as I said, they hijacked the system, but they use tech. It's really kind of super high advanced technology to do that. So, and yeah, they set up a grid over Earth to monitor us and to also feed off of our energy. Earth is Earth is like it's like America is what they kind of use me as an example, as in like nobody's really originally from here. Like we're always from another place. It's like okay, well, I'm from Korea. I'm from Africa. I'm from Ireland. I'm from your original family. Or none of us are sort of original to here. That's kind of what Earth is like. We've all come from different galaxies, different planets, everything, even different dimensions to experience life on this third dimensional planet. Not knowing that we were kind of being kidnapped, sort of, and that's kind of the situation we're in. But I'll go into why it works. They kind of explain that. It's pretty interesting. Yeah, it says we come here from other worlds and dimensions. We have been tricked and coerced into creating this reality. It is mostly to serve our controllers. We very rarely get to do what we want to do. I mean, they kind of allow that to a certain extent, but we are breaking free of this, and it's working. So yeah, it is. Soon we will all remember our true past, our true history and lineage. And a lot of us that knew how to escape came back. That's me, me and probably hundreds of thousands of others. We kind of figured that out, how to get back. To be honest, we probably got the spoiler alert cheat sheet. Said, okay, in order to avoid getting caught in the reincarnation loop, do this, do that. It's probably how it really worked. But anyway, that's kind of why we're hearing where we go one, we go all. Because, yeah, especially for us that came back, I come back here to help out, to help with this freedom operation to get everybody out of here. Is get out of this loop, in a sense. Basically get rid of our controllers. As you know, that's what this whole thing is all about. But most people don't even know they're being controlled. That's the problem. And that they explain that later on the other side. Yeah, they were also kidding me. They said it's very similar to Dorothy when she just kept on saying, "There's no place like home. There's no place like home. There's no place like home." That was the way to get back to source. Don't fall for the false light and whatever. It was kind of interesting how they just kind of used that. I'm not sure if they meant that as a just sort of an interesting analogy. Okay, and then they explained, I don't know how many videos ago I explained that very strange phenomena that was noticed back in I think it was like the 1960s or something, about how those monkeys started to repeat something over and over again. And as soon as it reached a critical number, which was, they called it about 100 monkeys. Once 100 monkeys were starting to do something, all the other monkeys basically around the world caught on to that very same concept. And what it was kind of like washing their roots or vegetables that they were eating in salt water, and it kind of got a salted taste to it. So they all started to like it, and it caught on. And the thing is, the weird part about that was, monkeys can't use cell phones and phone each other. So you got to try this out. They just automatically did around the world. They all started to do the same thing. Well, they said this is kind of the secret how that works. They explained it to me. As you know, we live in it's kind of like a Matrix. The Matrix films are absolute disclosure. They're trying to wake everybody up to the fact that we're being harnessed and used, like you see in the movie, and it's kind of like a false reality that we live in. It's to serve their controllers rather than to serve our interests. So it's really a good concept for us to really grasp, because that's kind of what's going on. But instead of a fake electronic matrix, this is a physical matrix. So this is really made out of wood. This is paper. Like this is a physical matrix that we're in. Anyway, this matrix is created by our will. Basically, we create these worlds, and they went on to explain how that works. When we enter into a story or a planet, we become aware of the layout or theme, they've said. So in other words, when you come into a planet, it's like your frequency meshes so that you become part of that planet, and it's almost like you go, okay, what's the scenario? What's the story on this one? So, and you basically connect to that storyline or that theme, they said. And then we basically conform to whatever that storyline is. But as you know, all of us kind of influence each other, so you can change the storyline as you go along. That's normally how these things work. They said it only changes if enough people want something different or are offered to change. So it's like that collective thing. It's like if there's enough people that want change or do something different, they can change the narrative, sort of. And they said this is why artists in particular or rebels are so influential. If they imagine a new concept and enough people like it or adopt that idea, the storyline changes. So they basically said all these realities are driven by our imagination. And then when we manifest that imagination into something, into that reality, then it becomes sort of real. And then if people like it or not, they went on to give me some really interesting examples how this works. Excuse me. If an artist creates 100 or more pieces of his or her concepts, and if 100 people buy that art, then it becomes a thing or a fad. That's kind of what they were saying. And they give me some really interesting examples, like when someone invents like the Rubik cube or something. It's like when the person imagined it, it was a concept, and then he made a physical prototype of it, and then he sold it. But as you know, it's not going to really catch on unless the minimum of 100 monkeys buy into it. In our case, it's 100 human beings. 100 human beings bought it, and they love it. It's like, wow. Then instantly, just like with the monkeys, around the world, it's like, wow, this is a really cool concept. It's almost like, even if you're seeing it for the first time, you go, oh, yeah, I think I've seen that before, or whatever. And it becomes popular, and it catches on, and it becomes part of our history, sort of. And that's what artists do. All artists, including me, we're incarnated muses. We have ideas, and to be honest, it's almost like channeling creativity through Source or God, I guess, in some ways. You know what I mean? But it's like we get concepts and ideas, but the difference between us and other people, especially me, it's almost like I have this computer program. I know how to create a physical example of something I'm thinking of to manifest it. But these concepts, once you come up with them, once you make a prototype, if it catches on, and it's like it becomes part of our world. Well, that's even right down to the basics of making a wooden house or log cabin or something. It's like if enough people start making them, it's like, well, that's what's until the new thing comes along, that sort of thing. And yeah, they laughed. They gave me an example. They said, kind of similar to like hula hoops or bell bottoms, etc. Things like that. Things become a fad. It becomes from. So if you understand how this pattern's starting to work, what it is you get a thought, and it becomes a concept. Even for me, you draw it on paper first, like, oh, okay, that's interesting. I wonder if I could make one of those. Then it becomes this interesting object, and then you make some. Not even necessarily the intention for them to catch on or sell them to make $1 million or something. It's more like just I want to make one and check it out. And it's like, someone can come over to your, let's say, art studio or your house. They look at it and say, hey, that's kind of cool. What is that? Okay. And then it'll catch on. It's like, oh, hey, is it okay if I show that to my cousin or my uncle? That type of thing. And things catch on. That's how things are manifested. And it gets interesting now. In some ways, they said artists become driven to create something new or different, or in some sort of different way of doing something, until and are kind of driven, and they keep making it till enough people are influenced to accept it. Some artists are like that. They're just driven. They just keep doing something over and over and over again. And that theme of repetitiveness is kind of important, and they explain why too. This idea or concept travels like an energy ripple around the world through the ether. They said, if something is repeated long enough or something, it actually because we're all connected. This concept will catch on around the world. This is also the secret that the dark side uses on us all the time. As a matter of fact, this is what I mean, because they know how the system works. They're using it to their advantage. And what they do is, as you can tell, it's media, movies, music, whatever it is. They know it's kind of like a magical trick. It's like if you put something out there enough, and all it needs is 100 people to catch on. So if the more you do something, if 1,000 people like it or 1,000 people are aware of it, it catches on all over the world. For them, they use it in a dark way, and I don't really have to explain that. That's pretty obvious. But this can be used for positiveness too, as in like someone invented a free energy machine. You sell it to 100 people, all of a sudden they're making them around the world because that concept is there. So it can be used for both, for both sides, sort of. So the negative entities, they target positive free thinkers. They watch out for people like us. That's why, that's why we're picked on a lot and ridiculed a lot and everything, because they don't. It's our control as it is. Like in an ideal world, artists are more celebrated. We're like, "Oh, dude, that's a great idea," or "Hey, what else can you come up with?" Like, we're treated more like that, but not here. It's like, "Oh, that's stupid. That'll never catch on," which means obviously it was probably a really great idea. Because artists see things in different ways. So basically, they told me this. They said this is how. It's like that secret of positive thinking too, as well. It's like positive affirmation. They said if you say something out loud, like a positive affirmation, 100 times, it becomes manifested. It's like a magical incarnation, and that's why you'll see stories of that. Like it's almost like we're shown, for instance, like sorcerers or like these old stories or witches or something. They'll basically have some sort of repetitive incarnations that they repeat over and over again. And it's because of the repetitiveness that makes it stick, sort of. It also works for, like they were saying, like for us that are in the entertainment industry, we call it fake it till you make it. And I would just keep doing it until it becomes a reality. So, and I know I've probably told this before. So, like, take for instance, for me, I know about this. I know it sounds silly and everything, but I'm just saying, if you look at yourself in the mirror and you do it every day, you go, hey, look, you're getting younger, you're getting stronger, you're getting, healthier, you're getting wealthier, healthier, wealthier, smarter, whatever. No, if you do positive affirmations, as funny as it is, when you do it for the 100th time, it actually starts manifesting itself. So let's say you do it once a day. It's going to take you probably over 3 months before it'll actually start taking effect. Or I guess you could sit there in one spot and say it 100 times, and then it'll start manifesting itself too. But I'm just saying there's truth in that, and I know because I've practiced it on myself, and it works. I say stuff like that. And it goes beyond just saying it in your mind. You physically have to say it. I don't know exactly how this works, but like I said, it's some sort of incantation. It's like, that's why words are really, really powerful, so we have to be careful. So if you say something like that, like my business is really going to start taking off. People are going to really love the stuff I make. I say that myself. And I obviously try not to doubt that too, but I'm just saying, you say that over and over and over again, and then sure enough, your business starts taking up. I've practiced this, but it doesn't happen right away. It's that 100 monkeys thing. It's like you need 100 people to buy your stuff, and then once 100 people buy your stuff, and they tell 2 friends, and they tell 2 friends. I mean, that's just naturally. That's just kind of how this system works. So anyway, this is what they told me. This is interesting. So if you can get something out of this, that's great. But again, stay positive, because that's part of manifesting our future. And that's why, for instance, I'm going to say it this way, but that's why they recruited a bunch of artists to be part of this freedom operation, is because we manifest things and we do things whether we get paid for them or not. I'm just going to make it, or I'm going to do it, or it's like someone playing music. I'm just going to play it. I'm just going to be creative. I'm just going to record this, whether nobody listens to it or not. I'm just going to do it. And then eventually, after 100 people listen to it, it's like, wow, that's actually pretty cool stuff. No, but artists we're unfazed. We're more determined. We're just going to do stuff anyway, no matter what. So ever since I've come here, I've been basically thinking positive thoughts. And if you get enough of us out here, like the 100 monkeys, and there's hundreds of thousands, and now it's becoming millions. This is how we change our reality. So we all have to do this. So first of all, stop watching TV, because the dark side is using that as a negative tool. It can be positive, it's true, but right now it's being hijacked and being used negatively. So stay positive, think positive thoughts, and that's how we manifest a positive future. Okay, anyway, that's kind of the basic gist of it. So that's it for today, and I'm really looking forward to the end of this year, because for some reason I think there was deals made or something, and I think this should be over soon. I hope so. No matter what, I'm still going to stay positive and manifest an awesome future for everybody anyway. So talk to you later. Bye.